day for work here at the Happy Healthy Workplace podcast. I'm Kimberly Ficklin, your host. And every week we talk to professionals just like you all around the world because we want to find out what they do to create a profitable business, the kind of business where people really want to work. Okay, well today we're talking to Pat Welch. Pat's the co-founder of Boly Welch. So Pat and Diane Boly have been business partners in the Portland community since 1975. Together, they have built a successful and sustainable recruiting and consulting firm, matching clients with top talent. Now, this is a quote from their website. It's about creating a work environment that brings out the best in all of us, and a philosophy that has earned recognition as one of the 100 best companies to work for in Oregon since 2003. And today, Pat's going to tell us all about how to get on this list. So first, Pat, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us.
Well, thank you.
So important for industry leaders to share their stories so that others know, there's a different way to do business, a profitable way where our employees are happy and healthy. So we're going to want to hear all the details. So tell us what was going on before. How did you know that it was an important thing for you to have some type of culture that made you the best company to work for?
Well, from the beginning, Boly Welch has always been about more than profit. When we started the company, Diane and I were both working moms. So we kind of built in what we needed to make our lives work. Flexibility, ability to bring our whole life to work, which I mean, literally our whole lives, our dogs, our kids, our aging parents, etc. So it started out, it was mostly kids, and then it became dogs, and then our parents started to get older, and they started to come, So it evolved. As we grew, we hired people who wanted to work in an environment that liked to celebrate and love themselves and each other and the work that they do, and care deeply about the community. It may not surprise you to know that 86% of the people that work for us are women. In the last 5 to 7 years, we almost doubled in size. Over that time, as we've grown, we've had to add features and aspects to our culture to speak to the new people that we've hired. When we started, Diane and I worked as employees for another company prior to starting our company. Mm-hmm. And we really enjoyed that company. We enjoyed the people that we worked for, and we probably would have been very loyal employees for a very, very, very long time. The reason we started our company is that at some point we wanted to shelter some money for retirement. And our boss at the time felt that even though he had a very successful search firm, and we were involved in just placing secretaries at the time for this firm, secretaries, bookkeepers, clerical people. Their search firm division had a very good reputation, but most of the dollars were being made in our office division, and we wanted to shelter some money for the future, and he felt that was going to be too costly, and that cost was exactly $1,300 to set up a 401k plan. We did not even want him to fund it, but he felt that was a large cost. And we offered, instead of being commission employees to him, that we would, how about if we became independent contractors so that we could set up our own 401k plan? And at the time, it would have been almost, if we'd wanted to start our own company, which we were not really particularly entrepreneurial or interested in doing. Had we wanted to, it would have been a very difficult thing because we were governed by the Bureau of Labor during that time. This is back in the 30 plus years ago when there were applicant fee paid agencies as well as employer fee paid agencies. We were always employer fee paid, but the Bureau of Labor was regulated every one of the agencies because there was an issue where there could be a lot of consumer fraud and taking advantage of people who were paying fees for jobs and then losing those jobs, et cetera. So it was very heavily regulated by the Bureau of Labor. If we had wanted to start a company, we would have had to do multiple things, which is pass a very rigorous exam, which was similar to the CPA exam. We would have had to have references from all our past employers, including our present employer. And we would have, and that would have been impossible to do because we had a very restrictive non-compete. So had we just said we'd like to start our own company, it would have been impossible. Mm-hmm. But because we wanted this retirement package that my boss was uncomfortable funding and thought it was a much better idea to let us become independent contractors. And instead of paying us commission, we paid him commission. We just did the split a little differently, and we took over our own benefits, our own medical, dental, and retirement. So he thought that was a good deal, and it really was a fine deal. And for 3 years, we worked under a different name. It wasn't Boly. We had a company called Boly Welch, but we worked under the name of the other agency, which was Murphy, Simmons and Stoll, and the division. It's called Office Careers. We would have been happy doing that long term, except that our employer sold that company to another person, and the person who we sold it to did not like the idea of us being independent contractors, wanted to turn us back into employees and hire more people to work in our division, that feeling that if we could do this well, that, triple or quadruple the size of the people that were doing it, and we could make a lot more money. Unfortunately, we didn't like him. We didn't respect him. We didn't have the loyalty that we had to our old boss for 10 years. So we just said, no, thank you. We have our own business. We funded it completely out of receivables, and we went on our way and opened up our shop. When we did that, the first thing we did was, obviously, we had a 401k plan our receptionist and our secretary said to us, we're going with you. So they joined us. They were our first 2 employees. We took a floor at Jackson Tower. It was way too big for us, but they gave us a great deal and we could grow into it, they said. They didn't charge us on half of it for the first 6 months. So basically, we just decided that with this new company, we were going to make sure that it was everything that we needed in terms of how we wanted to live our work life, which was, as I said, we were single working moms, and we had a lot of things that had to be incorporated into our day, and that included our kids and our animals, etc. So we just decided that we were going to make sure that the office that we were now in and the company that we were starting to build, although we had no intentions or aspirations for it to become 42 people, we thought it would probably stay the 2 principals and the 2 staff for a long time. But it became something where if we met someone that we really thought shared our values and our ideals and our work ethic, and they wanted to work for us, we'd include them. And so that's how we grew, just very organically. Mm-hmm. When we started, we had, the kinds of things that we had in place. Our dogs were always here. I always had a dog in the workplace. I didn't like to bring my dog. I'd leave my dog at home. So we've always had dogs before it was trendy to do that.
That is a true Portlander right there.
Exactly. They're great. They're great when you need to pick me up. Someone who's always excited to see you. It feels good.
Yeah.
And then the things that we've developed over time and put in place that I think makes us hit that 100 best list. We have TriMet and bike subsidies up to $600 a year. I think something like 35% of our office walks or bikes or buses to work. So we kind of pay attention to what the needs are of the individuals. We have Costco memberships, which we use internally to put on quarterly salad bars and provide healthy snacks. Everybody gets their birthday off in addition to 3 weeks of paid time off, an additional day for every day they've been with us. Everybody gets 12 days or 96 hours paid volunteering time to work in the community, something that speaks to them. We kind of incent the values that we think are important to us. We incent our employees to be involved in things that are important to them. We have both part-time and very flexible schedules. We work with employees on a kind of one-on-one basis to make sure their job is working out with their life. If someone comes to us and lets us know they're going through a health crisis or a mental health crisis or have sick family members or struggling to balance young kids, we give them the time off they needed. We're not letter of the law about any of our time off. We give employees time off to deal with, just individual issues. We also have people who have worked Boly Welch into their lives. We have people who have come back. We have one person who has returned 3 times after, not just maternity leave, but 3 different times to do another tour of duty, in a different season of their lives.
I love all those ideas.
I can talk about, I've got so many things I can tell you. I mean, I really do have a lot of things I can tell you, which I think lend to how we got on that list and how we stay on that list. We sponsor Hood to Coast teams. Our team, by the way, is named, this is not in my job description. We very much encourage random acts of kindness between our employees and from management to employees. Lunches, berries and breads from the farmers market. We do a bike-tacular every year, which is an amazing ride around Portland waterfront to get ice cream and see all of us whiz by. And in a platoon, just, it's fun. Someone makes a suggestion. We'd like a soda stream. We get a soda stream. We have happy hours every Friday, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. It used to be happy hour started at 4:30, then it went to 4, then it went to 3:30. Now I see people, the wine is out by about 3 o'clock on Friday.
They're like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Somewhere. Well, but you know what? It's not, almost everything I will tell you that we've done, that it's not done with this purpose necessarily, but every time we add kind of a perk or a benefit, it benefits us as owners, as managers of this company. What we found is that a lot of companies have people kind of, once at 3:30, 4, 5 o'clock, 4:30, people are kind of sneaking out the door on Friday to begin their weekends. Mm-hmm. We have people working here sometimes till 8 o'clock on a Friday because they're entertaining themselves with their friends, but they're also finishing a deal or making a phone call or planning for Monday. So it works. We want everybody to feel comfortable here and enjoy their physical surroundings. We spend a lot of time here, and we believe that, why should you just have beautiful original artwork in your home and have, the same kind of posters you can see in your dental office at the office? So we have collected art for the last 35 years, really very much supported the local art community and watched the local artists as they have grown in their acclaim. And we've got a pretty impressive art collection here that I think it makes me happy. I think it makes most of my staff happy.
Well, and wow, that's something you wouldn't think about, but making something feel like home. You had said,
mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time at work. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day that, we spend equally the amount of time at work I guess we sleep at home. So, but technically awake time, right?
Yeah, you're spending a lot of time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And so why wouldn't we want it to be a space that feels safe, which you've made it, because like you said, mm-hmm. anything that goes wrong, they know they can come and have an open communication, open conversation about it,
right.
And time off that they deserve. But not only mm-hmm. that, when they are there, they get to feel like it's home. I know when I was in the corporate world, I had my own offices, and I would
mm-hmm.
make them very homey. And I remember
mm-hmm.
having one of my bosses come in at one point and say, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do here." And I remember
mm-hmm.
looking at him thinking, mm-hmm. what do you see? Because what do you see, right? But what he didn't
mm-hmm.
see is metal file cabinets and things. I had brought in wood, and I had some, essential oils or some water fountains running.
Right.
It just was a really nice place to be.
Totally. I think that's really, really important. To me, it's not just that we have pretty artwork on the wall, but also good lighting, comfortable desks, comfortable chairs. We all have stand-up desks. You can do sit down or stand up, plants in the environment, live things, communal spaces, soft seating where we can just sit and schmooze. We work in a bullpen, so it's important to my business that we all be in the same room and be able to ear hustle each other and know who's on the phone with who and step in and say, hey, I can help there or whatever. So that's important. You need to be able to have spaces that are private also, or places that you can break away from that bullpen. So as I say, we have these little soft seating areas. We have added over the years the things that we've developed. We have a employee lounge, a lactation suite, a kids room, because a lot of our employees have young kids that they bring to work. We have a new policy where you can bring your baby up to 6 months until they crawl. They can be in the office with you. But we have a kids room, children like my grandchildren who are 3 to 6, who are able to play games, and they have paints and crayons and desks and computers and computer games. We have teenagers that come after school and do their homework there and can wait for their parents rather than being latchkey kids or feeling they have to hang out alone at home. So we've provided spaces for our employees, and we have a nap room for people like me today who had a migraine headache and needed a place to go lie down till it passed. But also we find that some of us need a 20-minute power nap during the day to refresh ourselves rather than feel, oh, I'm not with it today, I better go home. We get to get a break and still come back and get our work done.
This is all so amazing. I just can't believe the amount of things that you have applied, because some companies will take and put 1, 2, 3 things in place, even maybe a program of such, right? To employees, but you guys have literally built a community within your business. Yeah, some of the things that you talk about.
Thank you for noticing that. Yes, we try, and we keep. Every year we try and add more. I'll tell you what's funny about it, because you mentioned the list, and I think that the list it might be an impetus for it, because when we first got on the list, I think we entered the list at number 2 best place to work on the top 100. You know, we didn't always in the top 10. We did 2 about 3 times and 3 once or something. We've never been number 1. We're still waiting to get there. But I'll tell you, when it first started, I think we made number 2 just because we had dogs in the office. I mean, you didn't take a lot to get to the 100 best, all right? But what I found, and I find that I really enjoy this piece of it, I found that as that list became more and more competitive and more people are entering and want to be in that top 100 list, they look back and say, well, how did the last 100 get on the list? And what do we have to do to be on that list? And so what I have seen over the last 16 years is I've seen people adding the things that we did early on. And I'm not saying it was only us. There were lots of people, there were lots of other companies that were involved in, doing interesting things. And we probably copied from 1 or 2 of them that we said, oh, we don't do that. We could do that. But what I love is I do think that more than anything, it's harder and harder for us to get on that list, and we have to keep adding more to do it. But I think we've inspired a lot of companies to do very different things than they were inclined to do. And as I say, I see a lot of dogs in offices these days. When we started, we saw none. Okay, but I'm seeing the whole working community change in Portland. And I think to a small extent, we inspired that by some of the things we do. I shared with you that how important we think it is to have an aesthetically pleasing office and a comfortable office and a place where people can rest as well as work comfortably. But there's so many other things. We're big fans of celebrating holidays. Everybody dresses up for Halloween. We have a really big Halloween. We have a white elephant brunch and cookie exchange and Christmas picnics at the end of the summer, etc. But we also have incredible parties. We have been known for doing 2 pretty big parties a year. They're hosted either at a venue outside. They're not in our office. They're at other venues, often at my home. We just had one for the Lunar New Year that included a silent disco and hidden treats and prizes where everyone found little red envelopes and with money or lottery tickets or whatever. They're always catered with open bar and fireworks and exciting stuff. So that's important. People look forward to those events, and they're pretty much mandatory attendance because bonding with our coworkers is a huge piece of our business. Working together in a bullpen is done for a reason. It's so that we can create synergies and friendships develop here. Looking back over 30 plus years, so many employees that have been with me that are tenured 20, 25 years, their friendship circles are Boly Welch people, the people that stand up at their weddings, that are there when their children are born. These are the friendships that they forged in this office. We've got a couple that have married each other. We really like to work together and play together. And as we grew, we've just continued to look to people that we've added to say, what do you need? What are the things that would make you happy, that would make you excited to come to work every day and give your very best to our company and bring your very best self here? And we've adapted to that. I mean, we also, a lot of us don't leave the office very much. Some do, but we bring a lot of services into the office to make it convenient because there's so much. I don't really know how a lot of people who work in more corporate structures that don't have this flexibility, I don't know how they get their real lives done. You know what I'm saying?
I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, I really don't know because see, I do as much personal work and so do my employees at the office. And I do as much work at home. So like I don't make a huge distinction in my life between work and play. It's all kind of merged. So if you walk around our office, you will see people working very hard. You will also see people at various times on Facebook talking to their relatives, making sure their kids got home from school okay, making doctor's appointments, leaving to make a hair appointment, et cetera, et cetera. The services we bring in, we have dry cleaning delivery, lash extensions, brow grooming, Botox even. I mean, so we bring people in so that you don't have to go make 2 hours out to go do something like that if you need it.
Oh my gosh, Pat. I can't imagine, like, I'm thinking about that question you said, so when you hire somebody new and you ask them what they need, and it's like, well, I really need to get my eyebrows waxed.
And we said, that's great because they come every other Tuesday at 3:00, sign up. We have massages.
We have massages in office once a week. We have this building has just been upgraded since we've been here in the last several years. We've got a fabulous gym. We have a roof garden with kombucha on tap and a great patio to enjoy your lunches on. It's a nice place to be.
It's a nice place to work. Hey, I think I might need a job there. I think working from home isn't quite as fun.
No, it's funny. We're having a big conversation right now about this because it's one of the challenges, the whole question of remote working versus working in the office. And to me, it's been probably the biggest challenge that I need to solve, and I'm still solving, is to give people the opportunity to have that flexibility to work remote, because we've had people who have had young kids who want a day or two a week to be with their kids, we have 3 people who are 2-hour commutes from our office. So they've been on somewhat, couple day remote schedules, et cetera. But the challenge is allowing for that remoteness, but also keeping that synergy and having people together, working together. Because if you have everybody working remote, you're not getting the joy of connection.
I hadn't thought about that, because I thought about the remote worker, and I always think, hey, I think that the biggest crux is people worry, about accountability and will people get it done. And
so I don't, and that's funny because I don't worry. People think that, I never worry that when people are on a remote day or 2 days off, or working remotely, every morning or in the afternoons. I never worry that they won't get their work done. I never am concerned that they're not going to be accountable. I just think they're missing out on the synergy.
You're concerned that the community that you've built within the walls of your business won't remain intact when people start to split away from it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's an interesting concept I had not thought about before. So thanks for bringing that to my consciousness.
Well, it's a challenge, and it's something to look at. And with an intergenerational workforce, there are different demands on that. There are some of the millennials and younger people are hearing more about this, working from home, working remote seems more appealing sometimes, but I think they miss out on getting the wisdom passed down from some of the elders here, et cetera. So we're working on it.
That's very true. I actually just read a book recently that was speaking about that. When people leave your business, a part of your business goes, right? Because people take things away in their brains. And so you need to, I thought, okay, well, that's true, because it's almost like generationally, right? Their intelligence.
It is. There are generational differences. And then we also have a unique culture in that we've got probably half of our people you could call producers, variable compensation that's based on their production. Okay. And then the others are hourly or non-exempt or exempt but salaried or whatever. You have to balance. So for example, when you take 2 hours and send everybody to a picnic, in the middle of the day, that's a real win for the accounting team. But for your recruiters, they're not working, they're maybe not making money, they're not so happy. So you have to be mindful of people's times and schedule carefully and really try to balance fun with business needs. That's the challenge.
That is a challenge. I was just doing a podcast recently where the person I was interviewing had mentioned that even when they put some things in place, a lot of times their employees will say, well, I've got a lot of work to do. So you're taking me away from my job, and it's hard. So here is your employer literally handing you time off. And
exactly.
Exactly. And I said, that's when you've got a good employees anyway, because they have their own accountability, right? They're like, well, but I've got this to do.
Yes.
So, that is definitely a challenge in that balance of it, right?
I really do trust that the people that we hire are adults and they're not shirking their duties or their responsibilities when they're not here. I believe that's not the case. Again, I like to see their faces, and maybe a little more than they want me to see their faces sometimes, but I like to see them because I get jazzed by it. I get inspired, as well as the rest of the team. So that's an important piece to me. And it might just be, my age speaking, and then, I like my weekends. I don't even think of it as life-work balance. I think of it as life and work merged, so that, as I say, I feel comfortable bringing my whole self to the office, even when I have a headache or when I'm not in a great mood, you're going to know it. And also when I am not necessarily buckled down with my head down at my desk. But by the same token, we do work at home and whatever. So I enjoy the people I work with, and I want to see as much of them and enjoy them as much as possible. That's just me.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to be there. Sounds like the
you know,
funnest place ever. I mean, some of the stuff that you give, I don't get at home, so I'm just saying I would probably want to. Coming to my house and getting a massage or waxes, that doesn't happen. So those are so much fun. Oh, I love all the ideas that you've given, and really going back to just building that community. And you can tell that that's what's important to you just by the message that you're saying. You know, I just want to see them in the office. I want to see their dogs and their kids and their parents, and I want to hear their stories and watch them play on Facebook, and all of that speaks really
true.
high.
I know them. I know it's not just me. I'm not saying, but everyone in my office, they know each other. They know me, and I know them, and they know each other, and they know their kids' names, and they know their dogs' names, and they know when their parents are ill, and they know when they're having a challenge with a teenager. Mm-hmm. We know each other. We are a source of comfort, compassion, and we're resources for one another. I love that.
Well, I love all of everything that you've said. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that you've left off a ton of things off the list, but like I'm thinking, how could you possibly add anything else to that list? But I'm sure that your next hire will add something else too.
Absolutely. You know, and things do, honestly, every single day something new is happening. You can't just jump at a trend because everyone's doing it, because there are things that work for you and not for everybody else. For example, we had a ping pong table for about a year, and it got used about 3 times, unless there were kids in the office on a break, okay? Well, now that space has extra seating in it, and I see people chatting over there for more time together over lunch, and they're doing someone brought a jigsaw puzzle that's on one of the tables, and the lunch crew is working on that as they talk. So I'm sure ping pong is a great perk for some companies, but it just wasn't a great fit here. You have to be responsive to what your people need.
Right.
We've had the only thing I can say also that's changed in recent time, and I love this, I think our workplace has become much more diverse. I think there's a big push in the whole country, but in Portland in particular, for a more diverse, equitable, inclusive community. And so we've got committees that work on that to really push that internally, and by doing that, we also are constantly aware of our unconscious bias and situations like that. Because we're a company that places people with other companies in the community, becoming more diverse and equitable and inclusive ourselves allows us to model that for our clients and to encourage them to become more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplaces. So we had to learn, because sometimes you get complacent about you kind of hiring your own image sometimes. It's important to us that every person we hire have a good sense of humor and have a kind heart. Beyond that, and have certain level of skills that we need, okay?
Because otherwise I'm coming to work for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you can train a lot, but you can't train those 2 things. But we found sometimes that there were years where we kind of looked like a little too much of a sorority that didn't have a lot of breadth of ethnic diversity, etc. And so we really made a focused effort to recruit in that direction. It made a big difference. And then sometimes we get complacent about a new person joining us or having a temp in our midst and not really getting to know them maybe as well because we didn't make an effort to do that. So lately we've developed a welcoming committee. So for example, we just had a new receptionist start as a temp, and the team made sure that everybody had a couple of fun facts about her in an introductory email. And then they put donuts on her desk to make sure people would come up and introduce themselves to her and take her to lunch, So the group comes up with those ideas on their own because now they're thinking in a more inclusive way. And I think that's really wonderful. It's wonderful to watch.
That's really good, because that is absolutely, it's a buzzword now, but it's certainly a good one, because we're having a conversation about that, right? And it's just the awareness, right? It's the awareness of things.
100%.
what are we doing right now? What's happening? What's not? Yeah. So I love that too. Well, I am just blown away by the amount of information that you've shared with us. I love something that you said, back from the top 100 list, which was stealing from each other, right? So, on that list, a lot of people have looked at what you've done. You guys have looked at what they've done.
Right.
That's the way to get on this list. And this is why I invited you to come on and share these things with you, is because I want to if somebody took 1 to 5 of the 100 things you just mentioned and implemented them, I'm sure I'll make 1 to 5 employees happy.
I hope that people steal so much that we get bumped off the list. That we have to keep striving, that other places that we place our employees with are such great workplaces that people can enjoy coming to on a daily basis. Kick us off the list, and make us keep striving to get better. It'll make us try harder. Exactly. And, every day we're looking at what's next. We're talking about, we have people who are interested in sabbaticals. That's, so we're exploring it. Can we make this business case? Can we not? But I think, as they say, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And we're delighted when people look at that list, see why people made it to the top, and copy those things. I think it's great.
Well, wonderful. Well, that's what we're doing here at the Happy Healthy Workplace. We are sharing with people exactly the types of things that you shared so that they can go out and make their employees happy and healthy. So with that said, we are at the end of our time together today, Pat. And I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And I really, really just appreciate you coming so well versed and ready with all the amazing things that you've done in your business, because it does make it much easier then for people to take what you've said and go and implement it into their business.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share it, Kimberly. This was fun.
Well, again, I look forward to talking to you soon. I think we should be connected, and I probably should be coming and seeing your
come do it, please, anytime. Come for happy hour.
Yeah, I think I should. I think I will. So
okay, fun. Great. Take care.
All righty, thanks. That's a wrap for today. The Happy Healthy Workplace podcast is now complete. Be sure to subscribe and join us weekly for secrets, solutions, or strategies that help you create a profitable business where people really want to work. This is Kimberly Ficklin, wishing you a happy, healthy day.